Welcome back. You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Don't forget to download your free AM 1220 KHTS app. That's really cool because you can take us with you 24/7, 365, listen to your favorite shows. And we love to hear from you. You can give us a call at 661-298-5487. That's 661-298-KHTS. Today, we are being brought to you by the Rebeccas. That's the Rebeccas, TheRebeccas.com, or give them a call, 661-290-3880. If you need to know anything about getting a house, they're the ones to go to.
One of the best powerhouse real estate teams in the Santa Clarita Valley, hands down.
I'm not going nowhere else when we're talking about teams. We're talking about dreaming big today. We're talking about going after your dreams. Buying a house is obviously a dream too, but more specifically, we're talking about dreams, and it was really big for me. My mom always used to say, "Don't dream, dream big," and I believe that, and I spoke that, and I don't know how. Maybe it was because my mom, but I know I've been learning that from you, Alex. We've been dealing with that the past day about what's it going to take. And, as I got 2 auditions today after this, and I'm really excited because I have a whole different mindset now because, I've never gone into an audition or from this point on, from Monday on, anything I do, I'm going to have that mindset. What is it going to take? What if your son's life depended on it? And when we're talking about going after dreams, it's got to be that kind of commitment as well.
Yeah, when I think of dreams, what comes to mind for me is having a dream is you believing in possibilities. If you have a limited point of view about what's possible, you're not going to create the kinds of results that yet you yearn for deep inside. So your whole mindset in believing what's possible is important. Before you even set off with a goal, before you have an intention, before you take action on anything, you have to believe that things are possible. So your dreams is basically the roadmap for what you believe is possible. That's why when you're little, you have no limitations on your dreams. When you're little, you want to be that firefighter. When you're small, you want to be the president of the United States. You want to be that astronaut because there's no limitations. You're already dreaming. You're born already to dream big. It's usually as you start to get 5, 6, 9, 12 years old, you start coming up with these self-limiting beliefs about yourself and about what's possible and what's not possible. And that's usually when your dreams start to shrink. You start to have more information about the world. You start making mistakes. You think you are those mistakes. You think you're less than. So then your dreams start to shrivel. They start to shrink, and then now you have this limited perspective of what's possible. And I think dreaming big is what's really opening up your capacity to think that anything is possible, especially for me.
Well, and Pat, we're glad to have you back. I know you had to cross a bridge. But, one of the things when I did this show, Pat, Alex, and you may remember, right, when I was getting ready to do this show, I went out to shoot my own commercial, being an actor, always stepping out. And it was really interesting, Alex, because what you're talking about happened right in front of me. I remember going to my church that day, and I was going around and I was asking kids, I was saying, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, when I was asking these 4 and 5-year-old kids, boom, the answer came right back. Some of them came back with 2 or 3 answers, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, and I have it on film, I got to some 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds, and I'd say, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And
I bet you heard a bunch of,
Yeah, they'd look at me like dumbfounded. Some of them would say, I don't know. And right there, they'd already lost their passion to dream.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Pat, listen, when you decided you want to be a wrestler, you saw that, right? Did you visualize? Did you dream about it? I mean, because when I wanted to become an actor, just like you said, I got all those no's. Back then, okay, we got to go just to paint the picture. It was 1981 when 1980, I believe I got my first acting job. At that time, Hollywood was just making a move into Vancouver. At that time, the NAACP was making a noise about we need more people of color in the movie business, all right? And then that's when Mr. Van Peebles was making the way for him because he was light-skinned, and that's kind of how I got in. But at the time, people were like, there's no work for African-American actors. You're never going to make it. Less than 3% make a living. But every time somebody said something that to me, I was like, yeah, let's go. Okay, well, I'm going to be part of that 3%. Okay, well, then I'm going to be the first African-American. And it sounds like you got fired up like that, too.
Oh, of course, man. And you get me fired up talking that crap, man. It don't matter what color your skin is, brother. I got friends of all kinds. If you cut my flesh, we're going to bleed the same, man. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It shouldn't, but it's sad it does, Réal. Yeah, man. At 12, I was sitting up there in the stands, and I knew what I wanted to be, and I studied. I didn't watch it. I studied professional wrestling. And when I say that, I know at 12, you're thinking, well, maybe this is acting. Well, maybe it ain't. That looked real. But that was my thoughts. It wasn't about, man, that guy's got heat because he just beat up a cripple guy or something. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it was.
I'm almost sure that if I ask Pat this question, I'm just going to ask you anyways, but I'm going to paint this picture. I'm almost 100% sure that when you were dreaming of being that wrestler, your dreams was you lifting up that belt. I'm sure that you were dreaming of you being that world champion, of you walking around with that belt over your shoulder. I'm sure that all when you're young, you already visualize the end result. You already visualize you there at the podium. You already visualize yourself as it's already your dream is already completed. No one dreams himself like when I was a kid playing baseball. My dream when I was a kid was to be a professional baseball player. I was dreaming of hitting grand slams. Right?
Sure.
When you're dreaming about being an NBA star, you're dreaming about taking that last buzzer shot like Kobe Bryant, where you're the game winner and everyone's lifting you up. Though that's how you dream. You dream big like that.
Well,
Sure.
I mean, go ahead, Pat.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Or you're thinking about doing a sunset flip on Harley Race to get the 1,
There you
2,
go.
3.
There you go.
Get the 1, 2, 3. He scoots out of the ring. It's your time to shine. They award you the belt. You're up in the air. People hold you up on their shoulders. That's what you look for in pro wrestling, And in my day, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship was the belt. There was WWF at the time, but it was North. It was a Northern style wrestling, and the NWA was Southern style hard hit come at you. And that's the belt that everybody went for, was the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, which is, I have a replica because I wanted my son to know where I come from and what we worked for to achieve,
And how many different versions of you getting that belt and holding up over your arms, how many different versions did you not visualize or dream of that night or that day where you were victorious?
You got to do the double hand over the head. You got to do the belt on the shoulder. You've got to wear the belt. Look, you know what I'm saying? The whole deal, man.
Pat, I can tell you, I can't even count how many times I've seen and gone through me accepting my Academy Award, me accepting my Emmy Award. And when we won an Emmy as a team, it was like I stepped into that and congratulated that person that I'd already been there. So I was already moving on. I mean, and when you said something a while back, Pat, that stuck out to me, and then I got a question for Alex about this. You said you studied wrestling. I remember I started at the bottom. I started as an extra after I got an acting part, and it was on a show called Space Hunter 3D with Molly Ringwald. And I remember we had to come to work early. We put on these costumes every day, and the extras were making good money, and they would sit in this holding room. They'd have free donuts and coffee all day. They'd play cards and they'd fool around. And every day I would try to get a script, and I'd get the scene, and I'd get a call sheet, and I'd see what they were doing the next day, and I'd come home and I'd practice one of the actors' scenes, and I'd get as close as I could to the set and watch until my time was called. And eventually I became friends, and I got closer and closer, and that's why I wasn't wasting my time eating donuts all day. I wanted to be better. So my question to you, Alex, is what made me and Pat different? I mean, what did we just have it in our genes, or why were we different than all those other people on the set who just ate donuts all day?
I think there's the honest answer from my experience, and this is just kind of like something that I've noticed, it seems like all the people that are really successful, like, you know, self-made millionaires or people that go out and just create something big or create things that are extraordinary, it seems to be something that's common. And the common thing that I'm noticing is probably 80% or 90% of those people didn't have this kind of support at home. They weren't spoon-fed. They either came from some kind of poverty, or their parents weren't there to support them, or they ate, you know, rice and beans every night. And there's something that they flipped a switch inside of them and said, I'm not gonna live this life anymore, or I want better, or I'm not gonna be the kind of dad that my dad did and didn't give me. There's something that they flipped a switch inside of them that had this eye of the tiger come out of them. And so as you're sharing your story and as Pat's sharing your story, it's almost similar. You have the same similar stories. It wasn't like you got somebody there to just spoon feed you or give you things. You had to like dig down deep and there was this hunger inside you that wanted to go out and earn it or go figure it out. You were just destined for it.
That's good, because, you know, when I'm thinking about that, I remember certain things that I did have that hunger, you know, Pat. I mean, I don't really know what I kind of got stuck here for a second, because you took me back. I kind of almost went into the place where I used to be there and dream. I had nothing else but to dream, because I didn't have that world.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. If you don't already have something that is valuable, if you have nothing, then if you're operating from nothing or at the bottom, you can only look up and visualize whatever it is that you're yearning for. So for you, it was like, I can't go down any lower, so I'm just going to go up. So you were looking up looking up at the stars.
You know what?
And let me interject. Let me interject here, brother. You know, I was raised in Chattanooga by my grandmother in the projects. We did the food stamp gimmick. Not ashamed of it at all. That's what we had to do to survive. So I think that kind of background, you know, makes you that much stronger, gives you that want.
That's right.
You know, a lot of guys nowadays, and, you know, I'm the department manager of a big carpet industry deal here in Dalton, Georgia, and the kids, the employees we get now do not have that want to anymore.
You know, Pat, that's so true. I mean, I remember as an owner, I mean, it's so hard. I fired more people when I had my own gym, because I just have no tolerance for the people, especially the morning people. But I just had an aha moment with what Alex was talking about, what you were talking about. I just remembered the switch for me, Alex, I believe now, was when I was growing up, same thing, single mom, you know, she used to bathe me in the kitchen sink. But what really just hit my heart right now was I remember two things specifically. One was we never had a house. We were always moving, 1 month in this apartment, another month in that apartment, going from apartment to apartment. And so I always had this vision, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to have my own house one day. I remember as we're in Christmas time right now, one of the things was the exciting time. My mom used to load us up in the car, and we used to drive to the rich area, and we used to look up at all the big houses with the big Christmas tree lights. And it was like, how do people get that? How do people, 'cause I didn't understand, but I said, I'm going to have that one day. And I remember when I got on the show General Hospital in Soldiers of Fortune, my first year, you know, I was saying I wasn't in anywhere position from society ready to buy a house. Everybody was telling me, you better wait till this show's on 2 or 3 years before you do anything like that. And I was like, oh no. And I didn't have the money, but I bought a house. And I made it happen, because I've been thinking that for 30 years.
Well, the house was a symbol for you. It was a symbol for your success.
Exactly.
It was a gift to you to say, for all the hard work and for me digging down deep and persevering and going through challenges and overcoming and all that. It was like, I deserve it. So whether no one was going to tell you that you couldn't do it, because you had already overcome all those other challenges to get and earn that spot. So it was destined for you to get that, but it was a symbol for you to say, this is my trophy. That was your recognition for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this, man. Has your mom, is she still living?
Yes, she is.
So she's seen the Réal Andrews that we know, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love it, man. That is great.
Yeah, my mom is my biggest fan, and I'll tell you something about my mom. And I did have the support of my mom. I remember, like I said, we were a single mom. I ran barefoot till I was grade 7. My mom handmade my tracksuits. I still have them in my cupboard. I still have my tracksuits. It's on my thing. My first pair of tracksuits that I ever got. I got them on my shelf at home. They still have the grass spikes. We run on grass. My mom made tracksuits. They say Black Magic on the back. That was my nickname.
You should have told me that, bro.
Yeah.
You should have told me that.
Yeah.
Game over now.
The game over.
The Black Magic in the house.
But Pat, when my mom, she did everything, because my original dream was to make the 84 Olympics. And I'll never forget this. My mom sweat. She toiled. She took 3-4 jobs. I remember my mom working at a bank and taking me, and I was underneath the counter while she was working because she couldn't get nobody to babysit me. She sacrificed everything so that I could make the 84 Olympics. And when I pulled my hamstring at 13 and I found myself in the acting world, I came home one day and I said, Mom, I think I want to be an actor. My mom did not miss a beat. She said, how can I help you to do that? She didn't say, I've done everything, I sacrificed. How could you? She said, what can I do to help you? And that was the commitment and that she has to me today.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, Pat, let's change gears a little bit, because we got to talk about our other passion. We both have a love for fishing. Now, how did that come about? Because was that something you're just passionate about? Was it a dream, fishing in the FLW, the BASS, the two biggest platforms in the fishing world?
Oh, you know what, Réal? I got out of pro wrestling, was out of it for a little while, befriended a guy named Steve Daniel, Bassmaster Elite Series pro. He has a radio show now. Lives in Clewiston, old Chattanooga boy. And I started fishing BASS Elite Series when they let the codes in. Now, I've only done code because I know where my spot is. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to fish with them. But I know that I'm not going to be a KVD or nothing like that. I've always loved fishing. And I think, Réal, it helped me, boom, all of a sudden your wrestling career is over because you hurt your neck, but you're into this fishing thing, and it's just like pro wrestling, man. You go up, you talk on the mic, you do this, you do that, you have a good time. And that's fishing is just like pro wrestling, just got to work. I'm going to tell you what, you do fishing, but if you're out there practicing 7 days a week, sun up to sun down, it's just like getting your butt beat in the ring or working out in the gym, brother.
Yeah, it's like anything else. It is hard work, and it's actually one of the things that I'm going to go right into that, because what I launched yesterday, and I'll share it on you, is something that's been another dream of mine for 8 years. The minute I went into, I actually was one of the last BASS co-anglers. I got to fish one, then it went away, so then I went into FLW. Yeah. But I do the AdvoCare, and I'm passionate about health and wellness and stuff. And when I went into the fishing world about 8 years ago, I saw a solution, and the solution I saw was first and foremost to help these new friends of mine get healthy. The second thing I saw is, because you and me both know what I'm talking about here, that initial love for fishing, going fishing with your son, first thing in the morning, you hear the birds and everything. And what I started to see was my friends that I grew up fishing with, now because they had to, them getting a win meant a paycheck, meant paying their bills, they were losing that passion and that love. And so I had a dream, and we launched it. It's called Fuel for Anglers, FUEL, the number 4 Anglers, ANGLERS.com. Go check it out. It's all about like-minded people like you and me that are passionate about the outdoors, but maybe you want to have a dream to do it as a living or whatever, or just be able to do it with whomever you want, wherever you want, because we don't want to lose that love. And it's like you say, when it becomes, I've been there, from sun up to sundown, fishing all day long, every day, and now all of a sudden, it's not fun anymore.
I love fishing too, but I have a different reason why I love fishing. The reason why I love fishing is because it takes me back to the relationships that I created with my dad. More importantly, because he taught me to fish when I was a kid, and we spent that time, we bonded. But more importantly, towards the end of his life, he got cancer. And right before he got cancer, me and him got close. We started reinventing our relationship. And in my mid-30s, I'd come over and we'd get up early in the morning, and my dad would be making burritos, and I'm loading up the cooler with a few, sodas and waters, maybe, hide a couple beers in there. And we would go and we would fish, and it was classic because we'd come home, right, all tired, about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and my mom would look and she'd go, "Did you guys catch anything?" And I looked over and I'm like, "No, we didn't catch anything." And she would always say, "Then why do you guys go? You guys never come back with fish." And I looked over at my mom one day and I said, "Mom, you know what? For me, it's not about catching fish. It's about spending time with my dad." And she just looked at me and she smiled. And he ended up passing away about 5 years after that. But those were the golden moments for me. It was about, and when I read his eulogy, there were things that I was sharing about my dad that he opened up and shared with me only when we were fishing. And my aunts and my mom came up to me crying after the eulogy saying, "I never knew this about your dad. I never knew these stories." And I said, "I only heard them when we were fishing." He got vulnerable. He brought his wall down and he shared, and we connected and laughed, and we created an amazing relationship all through fishing.
Awesome. Well, Pat, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. You're listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. The show is brought to you by the Rebeccas at therebeccas.com. If you're looking to buy a house, need to know anything about a house, give them a call, 661-290-3880. Don't forget to get your free AM 1220 KHTS app so you can take us anywhere with you. We have been listening and talking with Pat Rose, talking about Don't Dream, Dream Big. So, Pat, listen, you can't see it yet, but when you get to see the YouTube thing, we've got your picture right now. You're half naked. You've got some tight little shorts on. You look like you're about 180 and shredded. Is that what you're looking at right now, Pat? Are you looking at lean and mean right now?
I'm 180 and shredded, brother. Heck no. I'm 55 years old. I've noticed, Réal, the arms are slowly backing down, man. I've still got the bicep, still got the tricep, but they're slowly backing away. You know what I mean?
Well, I do, but I have to ask, what's up with the shorts, brother? What like, who thought about that? For you guys are these He-Man macho wrestling guys, and you got these tight little skivvies on. What's up with that?
Hey, that was the gimmick, man. That and laying out on Pensacola Beach with your iodine and baby oil, getting that golden tan.
Wow, well, that's awesome. Listen, we've had a lot of fun with you, Pat. Alex right here, actually, we might have to get you on the program, get you back in shape too. We've talked about this in the past. We want to get you on the Fuel for Anglers team, get you in shape, get you healthy. Alex, I've been working with. Alex is down how many pounds?
I'm approaching 45 pounds now.
Wow.
Good job, Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
So listen, Pat, tell us what you got going on out there. Anything you want us to know about? Any big things you got coming up? Tell us about your show, anything. Now's your chance to give it a little shout out.
Oh, man, let me tell you about Set the Hook with Pat Rose. We record every Wednesday, play it back all through the week, the following week. We are on ESPN 105.1, The Zone Brewer Media in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We are on Commonwealth Broadcasting, ESPN's four of them in Kentucky. Plus, one of the things I'm really proud of is we're on Armed Forces Radio Network, the voice, the global voice of the veterans. And, we got, if you see, and I say this every week on my show, if you see any of the veterans out, man, walk up, shake their hand, give them a hug, tell them you love them. They deserve it. And we are proud as punch to be on Armed Forces Radio Network. Reno Viola out of Canada, Cornwall, Canada. They play us all through the week. So the radio show is happening. We're having fun doing it. Our guests this week are going to be Gerald Swindle, G-Man.
Oh,
and
man.
Mike Iaconelli. So we don't play around, Réal. You know what I'm saying? I'm catting around with the big dogs pro bass fishing,
Well, I know who you're talking about. They may not know that here, but you say hi to them and ask them, tell them that I'll have to get them on our show as well. Now, Alex, you got some great things, specifically the youth leadership. I got my son in. It's both my sons in this weekend, and I'm excited about it. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I got a powerful 2-day transformational training coming up this weekend where kids get an opportunity to to be challenged, all their limiting beliefs and all the insecurities and doubts that they have no idea that's getting in their way of their full potential. And they're going to have a warrior, challenging them this weekend and really calling them up to a whole nother level. It's beast mode, man. They don't have no idea what's going on.
That's awesome. And what do you got going on Tuesday nights?
Tuesday night, I have Women's Empowerment Group. We're actually having our final meeting next Tuesday, but there's plenty more coming down the pipeline to help empower people and step up to another level.
Awesome. And you also got a show Fridays at 1 o'clock. Our show is every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. So listen, we've had a great time. Thank you so much, Pat, for taking time out of your schedule and being on our show. You are listening to Getting Real with Réal Andrews and Alex Urbina right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.